Good morning, church. In this series, we're answering the question, what do you believe? The Church of the Word Statement of Faith says the following about religious liberty. We believe that every human being has direct relations with God and is responsible to God alone in all matters of faith, that each church is independent and must be free from interference by any ecclesiastical or political authority. We believe in the original intent of the separation of church and state, which means that the state has no authority over the church, not that the church has no part in matters of state. Government is instituted by God for the benefit of mankind, and must therefore govern according to God's law. Any state that fails to govern in line with biblical principles of government has surrendered its authority and legitimacy. Any law that goes against that established by the Word of God is an illegitimate law. Christians are obligated to be civilly disobedient against heretical governments and laws in order to be obedient to God's law, His will, and the example that Jesus Christ set for us to follow while on this earth. Let's talk about taxes. Believe it or not, Jesus paid taxes. This story is recounted in Matthew 17, verses 24 to 27. When they came to Capernaum, those who collected tax money came to Peter and said, "Does your teacher not pay the tax?" He said, "Yes." And when he came home, Jesus stopped him, saying, "What do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth take custom or taxes? From their own sons or from strangers?" Peter said to him, "From strangers." Jesus said to him, "Then the sons are free. However, lest we offend them, go to the sea and cast a hook and take the first fish that comes up. And when you open its mouth, you will find a coin. Take it and give it to them for you and me." Here, the tax they refer to is the temple tax, which was paid toward the building and maintenance of the temple, based on Exodus 30, verses 11 to 16. Jesus asked an interesting question of Peter. Is the tax taken by the kings of the earth from strangers or sons? Peter answers correctly that they do not tax their sons. The point here is that a tax to pay for the temple, God's house, demanded of Jesus was akin to a king taxing his own son, meaning Jesus shouldn't have to pay the tax. However, Jesus is still gentle in his dealings with man because he pays the tax anyway in order not to offend. Being Jesus, he pays this tax in a remarkable way, having Peter catch a fish with the tax money in its mouth. The takeaway here, related to religious liberty, is though we are free from worldly bondage through Christ, we should still pay the tax to not offend. This falls into the category of loving your neighbors. This isn't the only time Jesus talks about taxes. Let's look at Matthew 22, verses 15 to 22. Then the Pharisees went and took counsel to entangle him in his words. They sent their disciples to him with the Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are truthful and teach the way of God truthfully, and are swayed by no one. For you do not regard the person of men. Tell us then, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, "Why test me, you hypocrites? Show me the tax money." They brought him a denarius. He said to them, "Whose is this image and inscription?" They said to him, "Caesar's." Then he said to them, "Render therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." When they heard these words, they were amazed and left him and went on their way. What Jesus is saying here is that the money that bears the image of Caesar, meaning the government, ultimately belongs to that government that issued it. Since the government issued the money and wants some of it back, Jesus sees no problem in rendering to the government what is the government's. However, he adds to this by saying we must also render to God what is God's. What bears the image of God? You do. So give taxes to the government, but give all of yourself outside of that to God. Look, I know paying taxes is a nuisance at best, a heavy burden at worst. I could personally think of many strong words to describe what I think about taxes. However, Jesus' teaching is clear that we as Christians are to pay taxes to the government, be it secular or religious, as a part of living within the greater society. So pay your taxes, but give everything else that you have and all that you are to God. God bless you all and have a great day.